Good morning, or whatever it is, wherever you are. Okay, so I used to have this thing, and it's completely gone now. And actually, a number of things are still off, but I might work on some of the screen scaling stuff. To show lines all the way across here that represent where things are, and the problem is that I've got this like sub-item for each of these rows, because that seems to be the only way I know of to do that in StepMania Lua, and that you kind of have to return this, like, actor tree. And if you want to dynamically vary that, or dynamically add and remove those things at runtime, the easiest way to do that is to add a child from a path. I even had to do that for, like, each of these points is a Lua file. Or it comes from a Lua file anyway. And it seems silly, but that's the only way I know how to do it. So song list item has all of these metrics that determine the sizes of things, and that's going to end up determining where it is on this scale for various things. So if I want to show something that is outside the scope of a single one of these, I kind of have to draw that one level up where we don't have access to all of these metrics, which are defined in a separate file. Now, as far as I know, the only way to get truly global things is to do it in these scripts. But that means essentially relaunching StepMania, which is kind of a bummer from productivity standpoint, versus reloading a single file. So, hey Ohm, how's it going? Okay. So the best way I can think of to do that right now is to put a bunch of function pointers. Well, I could put the metrics in here, but what I end up doing with a lot of these metrics is calculating some position. Yes, I have. Technically, this is a many, many, many months old early beta build of it. I figured I'd run and see if there's, and I haven't noticed any difference. They hadn't really done anything breaking at that point. Yeah, I never completely understood what StepMania Online was. And I wasn't really into the online side of things. Play with friends. Oh, like you could do it over a network? Huh. Okay. So the things that we need to be able to do Okay, so these are just essentially metrics, probably. And then the x calculations for certain things. So we've got like our, I know it's per second scale. We've got our score scale. This might be the only two translations we need. All right, so these marks. Well, I guess I guess what I really need to know is which things I need. And actually, I did have something like what I want to put back eventually that might tell me. Well, it would have just been numbers there. This was a little bit ago. Okay, so that's remotes. Define settings. Might have been around here. Okay, well that was just a disable. Define settings. Like that song list item. We only care about this. There's help text. No, we're adding this. So that's not it. No. Yeah, it must be older. Because I had a thing that drew those overlay lines, and somewhere along the line I removed that because it was becoming. Unless I did that as part of this. It would have to be part of the seed graph, I think. It's disappeared code. I don't think blame would work. Oop. Hmm. But I thought it was around defined settings. High and low bounding curves? That's the graphs. Cleanup. No. remove that sometime. That's the help text. It would be a big removal down there somewhere. Oh, was that overlay the wiggle? Yeah, okay. So we had a thing that did the 2 bounds for that, and we had... Wait, was that into you as well? Oh, yeah, I was drawing the arrows here. Hmm. Wiggle arrows on, wiggle arrows off. Oh, that's the fair adding. And then up here, we removed place wiggle. Did I remove a call to that without removing the code? No, we aren't selling this item. No. Yeah. So remove calls to those. I know those are the functions. And then... Okay, so those were called up here. Can I just revert this? Not really easily. Could I do interactive revert? Okay. That is apparently not the interactive switch for this. Edit the commit message. Applies the changes. Okay, well that's good. Yeah, there's no interactive mode here. Introduced. Interactive staging. Interactive revert. Do not commit them. Unstage all those changes. And then add... Okay. What's the difference between I and P? Interactive patch. In the working tree, interactively to the index. Choose which hunks of patch. Add interactive. It bypasses the initial command menu and directly jumps to the patch subcommand. What now? And then one selection. Choose one patch and a status. Yeah, that's kind of what we want. So revert -n, which goes it into a conflict state anyway. Well, I'm not sure how that interacts with conflict. 1C, 02, BC. So that will change has been reset. But that didn't do that. So they're still going to be conflicted. Difficulty arrows. I don't think that's what we care about. Oh no, this is a different patch down here. So probably we want this one. There's the wiggle arrows. Or there was nothing in that one. Probably just keep that. This is build flow. Yeah, so we're going to keep that as is. Switch controls. Oh, no, this was old stuff. I must have had to move these. We still have these somewhere else, right? Yeah. Now we back to, okay, conflict, and that conflict was in song list item. And this we probably want to keep. All right. Stage this hunk. No. Removing a blank line. Place wiggle. Might not use that exactly. The function definitions. And did we... other file. Wiggle right line. Okay, so we got those. Alright, does this run right now? Let's turn off that for now. Oh, right, we're still in round 0. Oh, it does not. So it removed something. Oh, right. You were using it. So what you actually want... Well, this was kind of something old. So we have a base and a range. So I'd have to work out exactly what the equivalent of this was. But really what I kind of wanted was just sample code for doing lines in general. I guess if I want to put this back, then I do have to do something with it. However, I'm going to do that in a minute. I will be back in a bit. Something I miss. Oh. Windows. What is up with the bloody pop under dialogues? I've been fighting this for like a minute. It's because I can't see the bloody dialogue?
It's back.
No, wrong one. Oop, oh, cleared the cave. Woo! Got a little bit of air there.
We don't need Wanda.
At least I don't think they'll play. Why would I have Song Quest enabled for an RPG? Okay, now we're gonna go get the treasure.
But I'm the kind of person who likes to max out stats. Okay, so I must not assigned that one before, and this I messed up on. Okay, oh, we're not at full speed. There we go.
Alright, welcome back. So, this is probably... going to be something similar to this. Oh, so shape is just a function we have. Oh. And this, as we've seen, is kind of the wrong formula. So that is the complete flow. Well, as a dummy value, it could work. Oh, wait, is... that stage? Actually... Right, in loops, it's generally... That is also +1. Okay. So that actually is... to call it global manual flow was the only one. Or maybe I was looking at the wrong error. Right. Score wiggle. Oh, right. It's probably... Right. Score wiggle... % wiggle, because it wasn't really a score anymore. Oh, no, it's F3. Wiggle arrows off. Maybe I didn't think we needed those. So it's probably putting the related arrows for this. Or maybe removing this? Oh, we weren't actually done. Got to the conflicts. It's removing left wiggle. It's removing a bunch of stuff. Right, that's removing a bunch of stuff. Actually, there's probably an option. Oop. Stage this hunk, do not stage this hunk. Manually edit. That would be removing them. Okay. So get status. I know I don't want to just revert everything. Does get reset have interactive? Interactor applied and reversed the index. Get add. Unstage. No. No. Putting back our frames. How do I... The difference between the index and the tree-ish. Defaults to head. Opposite of get. So there's these that aren't listed as compatible with patch. Well, I guess I just have to do it manually. Unfortunately, these are removals. So it knows the index. Maybe? The index and tree-ish. Opposite of get add. Resets the index in working tree, not the working tree. What I want to do is uncommitted, unstaged changes. Get stash. Can you... Checks out all files from the index. Well, then I'd have to add miscellaneous changes. Selectively revert chunks. So that would check out the base version, selectively revert chunks. But we've kind of got this mix right now of stuff. Maybe I'd be better off just bringing back a couple of big chunks I want. This is getting a little bit weird. So I can worry about that. So the big things here, we had a left and a right, and this might end up being just like one line. Oh, right, so I had a left and a right line, and one of them had arrows, the other was like a counterpoint. This is right by curve graph. All right, so this is like this one, yeah. That turns arrows. This was doing multiple things. Wait. What's the setting line? Oh, that's the text. F. So we're going to need something like this to do that. Which was actually just above here, so I was seeing that. Song list overlays. Yeah. So this is overlays. Overlay line. And then you're the same, but false. And then the scale is kind of my fudge for all of that stuff. And then this was a particular thing. And what the? I wasn't even. What? How do you launch that from Vim? So bump flow. Are you're +1, so this has to be -1. Oh, these aren't going to replace wiggle, are they? And this is something we're going to have to sort out later as far as what this actually means. Oh, but this place wiggle, well, you're not called anywhere. Okay. Nothing turns it on yet. We just have a thing here. Is there anything else from here we're likely to need? Set selections, we may have to, yeah, place, we ended up placing it regardless. Wait. Yes, song list overlay. Place wiggle. Place line. Place line actually does get FlowDJ stage. Difficulty arrows, and then this is items I set selection. Oh, that was added in this change. That's moved up. Okay, that's the same. That's the same. And that sets them on or off based on the mode. We don't know which mode we're going to use this in yet. That's the left and right. Right. Arrow offset. Wiggle arrows. Right, this removed that, put the arrows over here. So we don't really turn this on yet. All right, is the set selections okay here? Oh. Overlay line. Did I... So these should have been local. Unless they weren't, but I didn't see any reference to where those would have been defined elsewhere. 1799. What? Okay. Oh. But that's self-get child. What? Self-get child. Wiggle left, wiggle right. Song list column. Song list column. Song list overlays. Song list overlay equals self. Set XY. Wait, is that supposed to be song list overlay? Not song list column. I feel like I may have copied that. That still doesn't explain overlay line, though. Because it was setting line, not overlay line. Wait, so what's... Oh, it exists, but it's not a direct child. Bad self. Number expected get what? Oh, self. Oh. Okay. That's a number. Nothing turns it on, but we've recovered the code, so we can do lines. We start out scaling. That is set selections. Oh, set selection. Or did that need to happen later to set things properly? You are doing some visibility checks. Okay, so we use that all throughout here. Recover overlay line code. Now we need to get the scaling factors. I got the code so I can see what it needs. I had song list scale. Which is an overall scaling factor. Which only exists out here, I think. Because it scales the entire thing, which then uses its internal metrics. If we want to place a line... at a certain level, well, the score was just a fraction, so that would sort of worked. So we need a scaling function for score levels and another one for notes per second levels. Maybe you have an internal size that's not even relevant to the external size? In which case, could any of this even matter? Hmm. I might need to try doing this for some things. So right now, what we're setting is some arbitrary values. Wiggle is one of the things we might have to address. That's out of sync because it's two values now. That we never got around to implementing. But it would be lines. Well, actually, that setting kind of got removed. Because I wasn't seeing it do enough. So I think what I might want to do is rejigger this to be hardest setting. And then just make warm up and cool down like a flat half, so it's only one setting. And then I could do a line for that. Although then it wouldn't be bump this up and down. We would by default have our line with arrows on it. Okay. So right now, we could do the visual for mid-score. Song list over. So based on our settings, this would be default settings, set the line on. I think we said place already. That passed through a setting, though. Oh, it kind of implied the setting. Wiggle stages. This would effectively be default. Is it settings overlay? Song list overlay? And then everything else is off. So now the question is it not being made visible, or do we have the position so messed up it doesn't draw anywhere? Let's place line at 0. Wait, zoom. That's the text line. This is overlay. Set size 275. It's not showing up at all. I'm not missing an error, am I? No. Let's make sure you never go invisible. So I think the lack of automatic change there might actually be annoying for me in development. Hey, GJ. What do I have to do to make this thing show the heck up? Shoot. Now I've messed up my reload loop. Well, let's start default. Yeah, it's not default control set. Making various changes. Well, that would be a recent change, so I should be able to look at the stuff I did. Set view changed or moved. I guess I could just fudge this. That'll keep it from evolving at all. But I'll get an immediate switch. Yeah, so I'm trying to improve my setting. Well, I'm looking back at some of the setting stuff. I want to see if I can redefine. This is just sort of a maximum value, but then I want to just draw a line that's just there instead of all these individual points. But I brought back some of the code for drawing the line, and nothing's appearing. This isn't a position thing, is it? No. Mm. No, it's not setting line, it's overlay line, geez. Wait, I thought I was doing that. No, overlay setting. Naming is hard. Because I converted something that used to be 2, so it was left and right. Yeah, okay. And right, that needs to be. No, we've got scaling factors there. Oh, but this is per stage. I actually just need to be. Forget what it's called now. No, that actually seems to be kind of appropriate. Needs to be maybe fixed up a little bit. Arrows might be a little bit big now. It's not a specific mode thing. But we also want this to work. And of course, we can't see that in the mode where we can easily change things. Yeah, so now the alignment's totally different. So it's a little bit awkward. So the way we simplify this a little bit, for our basic model at least, no, it's settings. Config. Start score, mid score, so is we get mid score, we say start score is It's square divided by 2. When we bump it, we mid factor. Oh, this is mid factor. And then start score is just we've clearly done something very wrong there. Oh, right. We actually need to make that towards the easier end. So this actually is a little bit complicated. Plus 1 minus mid score divided by 2. I don't remember if that was the actual settings I was using, but hopefully it's reasonable. Or maybe make the setting the fraction of the top score to use for start score. Anyway, song list item. That's Wiggle. Slowest. Oh, that's the difficulty arrows. So then this would actually go away. That would be our setting. It would disappear and we go into other things. I think we were somewhere around 60. Maybe a little bit below it. So that gives us a very simple setting that works everywhere to bump all the songs. And maybe I probably need to be able to set Wiggle. I might need to be able to set, it's affecting things, but it's not the only thing affecting things. And then I might want to go back to the old system and see if doing it in those terms works. And then just not do a GUI for the rest of it. Well, Wiggle is a thing we're thinking about, and well, because we changed models. So this is still a visualization for the old model. And then just work on making the build flow thing code customizable if people really want to change it. Although the curves stuff is really obtuse. Okay. So that's our baseline. What does it look like? Let's go ahead and do that. But we've got this thing turned off. Right, we have to toggle the line. Oh no, I had not committed this. Line for score limit, set starting ending level as half that. And then build flow, if we want to go with that. Our base is that. Our base is a shape with the wiggle range. It becomes a different type. This goes a very different kind of pick. This goes back. Not picked by bounds, picked by score. Oh, it doesn't consider any of that stuff. The base thing it was doing was that. And it was getting a range. Which used to be a parameter. Something like that. That's our pick. The visualizations will be all messed up. We want to include some of the other limits, I think. Oop. Table expected got, oh, right. Pick by bounds would be actually somewhat current. Min would be target. Let's see, I'm not sure Wiggle's right. Because we had score bound, which is just scaled, wiggled, start score, mid score. Okay, so actually, no, actually, so it would be It's just picking off score bound. Which still has some of the properties I didn't like. Namely, that it's restricting my ability to play songs I've done well at, even though they were challenging. And that version almost needs some more wiggle. We are picking a range of the score, so it might be up a little bit. Wiggle visualization is completely broken. I'm not even sure why. Oh, I may have been setting some factors in the other pick loop. Yeah, there's some other problems this has. That's understandable, but it has other issues. How do we take a single little factor like that? I mean, that does interact with this. And then we modified wiggle. Right, because that's just in the limit. All right, so that one ended up not involving any scaling magic because it was just the score is exactly on the scale. So if that's all scaled there, I did have to do the scaling factor, but that I think was actually external to the song list item. So maybe I don't need those factors? Well, I need the notes per second scaling factor. To do NPS mark. There's the lower bound. Actually, flow width is a thing that both things were just assuming. Notes per second scale and notes per second baseline are some of the things I'd been thinking about. So I could just stick everything we need to share into our global object and then have one of the files set it. I guess most metrics are here. Okay, so we have a 600 and we have some other arbitrary thing. So then this has to know what that width is considered to scale it properly. Oh, actually, I seem to recall that I was using 30 before. And all the stuff involved in notes per second scaling is where I kind of wanted to do a function. There's an overlay of a thing that has a zoom factor applied to it. So we just kind of end up having to, yeah, zoom. So we wouldn't necessarily do that. We'd have to have you with the metrics for yeah, that's kind of an assumed thing too, isn't it? Well, text height gets used all throughout this, but that does end up being... Is that... No, because that's like mostly half size. That is a different text size. And then we need NPS baseline, NPS scale. This is the only place to make this shareable between files if I go tweaking things. And we could start that off there. That stuff gets more complicated. Arguably, this should be... Well, to give this any reasonable default... Oh. Times flow width offset by... Yeah. So that should just be +1 on the inner thing, probably. And then we've got this arbitrary constant that we can work into a reference from the other file. And the problem with having these things defined here is that this only gets loaded on program start. So I can't tweak it. And this might need a return. And then when we load this, songless scale might kind of do that as well. Wait, is that +1, or had I... that might not work. We times the width times the scale, which inverted it. So I might actually be able... I think I may actually have to do times to invert it, then offset it, then multiply the whole thing by width. Because that was affecting the baseline afterwards. Oh, and flow is having a baseline too for completeness. I don't know that I actually need that. That would end up just what is this being flow width? Now for that to work, we're gonna have to restart. See if that by itself doesn't cause any problems. Unexpected symbol new return. Alright, I guess I need to work on my function syntax. Do I need to... And which file was this on? Yep. Overlay. Song list item 19. Nope. Leftover comma. Right, we have no model, so all the estimates have worked. Because I limited the runtime. So it's only picking things that have actual scores, so they'll appear to be 0. All right, now, which means that it didn't actually load that, so we didn't actually test it. All right, now we have like NPS scale. Oh, well, yeah, the function, the naming conventions were kind of all over the place in the sample code I saw, so I never really picked up anything. Let me reload again. Maybe one way to fix that a bit. Okay. So song list item for consistency. All right, so we've got our bottom setting. This is range bottom, range top. Let's see if that doesn't, oop. Gotta go back to here again. Okay, nothing seems to be blowing up. NPS scale, set size, XY, NPS scale. Oh, and that is dot, not colon, because it's not passing in an object. PS scale. Thing we're not currently drawing. Which I guess we should for debugging purposes. thing we might get rid of entirely. Is that just... No, that's something somewhere else that's messed up. I'm confused. That looks okay. That looks okay. Set size. Is that 1 or 2? That's a 2. Song list item. We're looking for an NPS high, NPS low thing. This is supposed to be flow height. That's still not fixing this, though. Right. Okay, you're appropriate. So that's our... Interesting that was not doing anything before. Now, those ranges do need to be updated because, well, it depends on what you're doing all the time. Oh, no, I turned that off. Uh-oh. Seems like I just replaced that battery. If internet's still working, it should be fine. Yeah, power's still fine. Okay, there we go. Oh, no status lights are on. So that's our range. Flow range. Oh, right. Left arrow. Oh. I stopped drawing those. No, that's wiggle. Da, 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 da. Well, it should still be flow range, right? PS bottom, NPS top, NPS high, NPS low, which is probably left over from a previous system, although it's weird that we weren't seeing that before. Do our other marks make sense? Those sort of make sense. Yeah, upper limit makes sense. I don't think I'm... Yeah, there's the lower limit. That seems reasonable. Probably just some very out-of-date code. Range top, range bottom. Wiggle base, wiggle range. Left arrow's not visible, so it should be this one? Yes. Which we're probably not properly setting, if at all. Don't know why they started drawing suddenly. What is that intent right now? That... I haven't thought about some of these things in a while. I think... this just needs to be left off. Because the flow range right now is something kind of weird. So it has to be, this is saying NPS high and low, which is an artifact of one of many possibly abandoned systems. Right now, what we're effectively doing is we're getting our score bound high. Wait, score bound. Oh, I reused some code here. Okay. Well, I mean, I might still want to draw this, I guess. I still need to sort out all the UI stuff. Okay, thought I copied that. Score bound. So we're going to have local. And this gets weird. This isn't even necessarily left and right though. And then that is, well, it's NPS scale of NPS lower bound factor. And then we have to say I guess we could say, well, left is we're assuming score, and high is we're assuming, or no, right, is we're assuming NPS, but then if these coordinates, if right is less than left, then left equals NPS, right equals score. Is that right? No, it's not even really a range. I mean, it kind of is, but I don't really know if it's useful to graph. Actually, I'm not even sure, because they're technically different factors. So we set size to right minus left, and XY to left. Yeah, and that doesn't even really describe it either, because it's kind of showing you your two limits, but they're just two different unrelated limits. On unrelated factors. So you can see something about the shape of the selection parameter, but not necessarily. Right. That says that this is out of bounds. Huh. Well, unfortunately, I think I'm about out of time to fiddle with this today. So that will help in getting some miscellaneous other songs in there. And actually, that seems to be helping. We're still getting things that are from remembering what this is drawing correctly. Too slow for our selection range. No, song list item. We're not drawing NPS upper bound because we're not really using it right now. Or we've made it so large it's irrelevant pursuant to eventual removal. I need to review what I'm drawing here because that seems like the NPS mark is out of bounds. Maybe applying selection range too liberally to it? Also, my upper score bound is going above what I think of as an absolute maximum level, which makes me also not trust this. I think I need to turn this back off for a bit, because it might be overwriting some other stuff. And I'm not... Oh, I can see that level here, which does seem appropriate for these selections. Oh, maybe I was looking at... Oh. But now we've set that, which doesn't seem to get turned off. So there's all this range stuff. Well, like it's used in one of them, but there's nothing to reset the properties. Nothing ever gets set. Well, it's used in one very inaccurate visualization right now. Oh, that also updates the arrows. That's just not visible. Let's wiggle at slowest speeds. We can still sort of see where that is. That needs to be fixed. Alright, so this did some abstraction over NPS scale, which we have not been able to relate back previously. Right now we're doing pick by bounds, which is using possible steps, which is using possible steps, which is taking and inserting everything, but sort. I forget what I called the function. Add factors, scored steps. Table insert. Yeah, I forget where I'm sorting these. or scoring them, whatever we do. But when we do possible steps, we are always inserting the steps in each song, I think, in a difficulty order, which for a range-based pick like this gives us a systematic bias towards the lower end. So that's something else we have to address. But this is serviceable, if not understandable. Although maybe the half score thing makes the opening and closing too easy. We'll have to see. And actually, how does this score limit work? Right now, we've got 8. 64 is pretty reasonable. I think I was at 58. Yeah, so with today's selection, there's a 43. Yeah, just everything has an easier version to use. So that's something else that's kind of Alright, well, I do have to stop this sometime so I can have lunch sometime. And then do some other errands. So that is going to be it for coding. I'm going to be playing this in a minute. If you are here for Coding or Lure, anything, thanks for hanging out. If you'd like to continue hanging out for some Step Mania, and watch me bounce around in a dance pad, you're welcome to do so. Thanks also for the hosts. Let's see, what else do I need? Actually, no, I don't have my own host to prepare, so I'm usually on at about these times. We're still kind of sorting out the clock changes. And then like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I will switch over to Step Mania. So yeah, we'll be back in a few minutes after I change some stream settings, or good afternoon, good night, good morning, whatever it is for you.